Hi guys, today I'm going to be working on this t-shirt quilt I've been putting together. I've posted a few sneak peek pictures on my Instagram. Today I'm just going to be attaching some of the border. There's not enough t-shirts, so we're adding a border in between each shirt and then in between each row. So this is going to be in between the rows, and I'm really just checking my seam here. I'm choosing to lay these first ones up under. So I'm just going to stitch along. Some of the stitching, if you want to fast forward, you can. It does take me just a minute. Okay, and I'm going to pause here again because I'm going to lay the rest of this out. And so since I tucked this first part under, I'm going to take, let me zoom in a little bit. So I tucked this first part under. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to tuck it out, so towards me, so that both seams are facing me, and then I'm going to stitch the rest of the way through. And then this is what I'm putting along the edges, and I've got these little bridges on the inside, and I want the bridges to face that way once it's sewn. So I'm going to fold it under and I'm going to face them this way. I like to line it up with the t-shirt, and I like to put it under my foot, put my foot down, and I like to poke the needle in, and that holds it. And then I'll go down the line and kind of line it up. This is so much faster to me than putting needles, like pinning it all the way down, which I used to do. I used to take the time to pin each row to each other, but then if I wanted to make changes as I went, I had to unpin, reline it, pin it back. So now I just do this. So now I'm going to sew down to our first cross seam here. So you'll see just a minute. You want to lock in your stitch. And I'm using, for my seam allowance, I'm kind of eyeballing it. And then wherever this foot starts, I keep it right along the edge. And then as long as I keep it on the edge, I keep the same seam allowance all the way down. So I'm going to line up some more. Doesn't have to be absolutely perfect. So I've got a little bit of green showing. And I'm not pushing, I'm just kind of guiding the material through. Not pulling. Okay, now I'm going to stop right here. So this is my first cross border. So lift the foot up. I want to make sure my seam here is facing me, so it's flipped under, facing me. Line that up. Make sure it's nice and straight, and put my foot down. Okay, and then we're going to come on through. Okay, now I'm going to freeze here. Straighten some of this out here. Okay, now I want this seam to also be flipped under and facing me. So I want them to be going the same direction. So I'm going to face that down, lay this over, and I'm only going to sew to the seam, and then I'm going to leave my needle there for a moment. Okay, so I'll make my needle stay. Okay, now I'm going to lay out this black piece, which is wanting to curl. Okay. I just go a little bit at a time, and I make sure I keep this line right along the edge of the foot here. See if I can. There you go. Okay, here we go. Pause. Straighten. I think it takes almost as much time doing this as it does to put the pins in the first place, and then you have to pause to take the pins out. Even though I've got to pause, I feel like this is still faster. That's just me though. Okay, we're almost to the end here. Okay, we're going to come up to another seam. And again, we want to make sure it's flipped down and under. Pause. Oops. And then I want this one to flip under. Lay that down, and I'm only going to go to the next seam. Okay. Now I'm going to line this up with the t-shirt. Guide it through. Oops, sorry, I keep knocking the camera. Okay. And almost done here. This is an extra long. I have one extra long row on this blanket. Okay, so we're going to tuck it under, line it up here. Try not to pull anything so it doesn't freeze. Make sure this is tucked under. Okay. Okay. For this one, so I had to put two of these strips together. So this particular seam, I'm gonna lay open. I just like the way it lays better. So I'm gonna lay it open. Just go across there. Okay, and now we're almost at the end. My seam allowance is not perfect, but that's okay. Get all the way to the end here. And then I'm gonna lock in my seam right here. So when I lock it in, I'm gonna hit this, let's see, the backwards right here. Go back a couple stitches, and then forwards again. Lift my foot, clip the seam or the string, and then you'll see. There you go. It lays nice and flat, and then I don't know, I just think this lays so much flatter along the line. And I'm gonna do this 6 more times. Okay, thank you for watching. I'll post some more tomorrow. I think tomorrow I'm gonna have some photos of my current embroidery project, so I'm looking forward to showing that. We'll see what an hour of embroidery actually looks like.